Chelsea legend Frank Lampard obviously
Canned.
was sacked by Everton. Yeah, and there's people saying he's been a failure. Him and Gerrard are failures in the Premier League. I don't think that his tenure was quite as bad as people think at Chelsea. Everton's a different story, but that whole club's a mess to begin with. So I just want to know your thoughts on that. Was he a failure in the Premier League? Should he have been let go in Chelsea?
Well, it depends. I mean, it always depends. You got to, like, the qualifiers, people need to define these words. Like, was he a failure in the sense that he didn't win the Premier League? If that's what a failure is, then yes, he's a failure. Is he a failure because he got sacked mid-season by 2 clubs that wear the color blue? If that's your criteria for failure, yes, he was a failure. If the criteria is, did he find academy players, promote them to the first team, and those players went on to win trophies in England and Italy, respectively.
The same year he was fired, by the way.
He's not a failure. You got trophies from Tammy, Feek, both Nigerian brothers. Shout out to my Nigerian brothers. You know what I'm saying? And then at home, you got Mason and Reese winning a Champions League. So, I mean, they've half two, like 3/4 of the people he brought through have won European silverware. That's astonishing. So
yeah, no, I agree with you. I 100% agree with you. If Lampard wasn't a part of the Chelsea manager rotation, right, strategy, I think he would have probably stayed at Chelsea and probably still be at Chelsea at this point. You also have to remember when he got fired from Chelsea, he was also going through this insane injury crisis as well, right? And then Tuchel came in, people got healthy. And then you look at the Champions League goal. He said this as well. The ball went from Mendy to Chilwell to Mount to Havertz. All players that essentially have Frank Lampard's fingerprints all over it, right? And so I don't believe he was a failure at Chelsea. I think he was just a byproduct of Chelsea's strategy of, okay, what? You're not top 3? Get him out of here, right? And then look at everything's nuanced. Look at what he did at Everton, where these guys were bottom of the league, and for him to fight and push, and incite like enthusiasm from that Merseyside fan base that was almost dying. It was about to be in the Championship. For him to get them to be just even more energized and enthusiastic about football, I think he deserves some credit. Yeah, look at it. That team then lost 3 of their best players. Yeah, it's gonna be terrible. It's what it is. And they were even gonna sell Gordon. Like, that team was going to be absolutely horrible because they just don't have players. And Sean Dyche's gonna come in and they're probably still gonna get relegated. It just is what it is. And so I don't believe he was a failure. I think he deserves a real shot. But we'll see if he's actually going to get one.
I feel like the mistake. I feel like there certainly were mistakes that he made, and we can't be blind to those mistakes. It could be argued that he started too early and he should have stayed at Derby County after getting that team promoted. Ultimately, they weren't promoted. They lost in the playoffs.
In the playoffs, right?
But still, I mean, that alone is an achievement, right? But so I mean, but it's tricky because, like, you think of it like, I'm Frank Lampard. I get the call from the big man to come represent the Blues as the main coach, the head coach. It's kind of like Mikel Arteta. He gets the call from Arsenal. Do you want to come do the job? And it's like, in the back of your head, I'm going to give this everything I got, but like, it's probably not going to be pretty for a while. And it's like, where one team, there's a toxic culture of firing coaches and bringing in a new coach to like give the players another stimulus to like get them to that point. It's like, yeah, like, our coach got fired mid-season. That gave us the boost we wanted to win a Champions League. Okay, that's like a part of the philosophy, and someone needed to be sacrificed, and it's often the coach. Whereas if he would have stayed and got backing and made it through or a sellout or a sell in a new purchase, like, he probably could have found a lot more success. We wouldn't have won the Champions League, but we might be, at that point, third or second in the table right now, or we might be top of the table.
Right.
But it's like pros and cons. Would you rather be in contention for the title this season or have won the Champions League. And for that to happen, we had to make a sacrifice, and it would have had to have been Frank Lampard. But as far as I'm concerned, he should have a Champions League medal for that season, and he should be seen as like the joint coach because he coached half of the season, and without that half of the season, we couldn't have the second half. So, I mean, if he was a failure at Everton, they weren't relegated. That was the task. That was the objective. Do not get relegated, and they were not relegated. Right. As far as Steven Gerrard, he is a failure. He is a loser. He is not a good coach. Okay? John Terry, on the other hand, he was at Aston Villa. He was a decent assistant coach. He helped their defense a ton. Look at Tyrone Mings. He got England call-ups under John Terry's stewardship. But Stephen G, he's a fraud.
Yeah, your Chelsea bias is not seeping out at all in this. I didn't even know you supported Chelsea, dude. I thought you were a Liverpool fan.